Plus, some of the lines are just hilarious, so I'll let that slide. My only complaint is that the characters look like Asian cowboys, but they sound like they're from the South. Other than that, the music is excellent and the sound effects aren't too shabby. How the game opens is with your character being dragged by his wrists on a motorcycle. Since your sword has been taken away from you, the hero must rely on his 6-shooter. Now, I have to say that aiming and shooting was excellent, and immediately I knew this was going to be a great game. I was a little disappointed that I couldn't hold the gun ghetto style like the launch title, but that disappointment didn't last long. After dispatching some thugs Old West style, you rescue your former sensei and he teaches you the basic sword combat. The dojo acts like the tutorial levels for the game, and as new abilities are unlocked, the old man will teach it to you. Each new sword technique is repeated over and over again until you master it. To help you, a lady appears to the left of the screen showcasing how to properly swing the Wiimote. Once you're done training, return to the bulletin board to get your next mission, and once you complete it, return to the bulletin board to get another, and it repeats and repeats and repeats. Red Steel 2 offers the player's story and submissions, which adds more money to your wallet so you can upgrade more abilities within each stage. After completing a few missions, you're finally ready to take back your Clan's sword. The first boss that you encounter isn't that difficult, but it's still a good idea to remember to block a lot. After beating him, the master teaches you a Kusagari technique. Once this is done, players are then able to go to the forge to upgrade your sword strength. After coming to this point and experiencing the joys of the motion-controlled sword fighting, I was hooked. Red Steel 2 is a sequel to the fan-loved or hated game Red Steel, although this game is nothing like its predecessor and has been called more of a reboot than anything else. Red Steel 2 began in the summer of 2008, and on July 28th, Red Steel was announced by Ubisoft's director and would also use Nintendo's new accessory, Wii Motion Plus. They also stated that the game would be bundled with Wii Motion Plus. Red Steel 2 features a stylized cel-shading graphics in contrast to Red Steel's more modern Vantage Point. The graphics are similar to Ubisoft's 13 game released in 2003. Unlike most FPS games, the Wii's newest shooter doesn't have any gore or vast amounts of blood. When a foe is hit, dust and ink appear, and as they die, enemies disappear altogether. Like the first game, players are able to use the sword and gun anytime during the gameplay. Another interesting aspect of the game is the camera. Players have full control of the camera before combat, but once a fight begins, the camera becomes locked in place as to not take away from the action. This makes for more precise control for your katana and has been praised by critics and gamers alike. Red Steel 2 received positive scores from my colleagues in the industry, but sadly the General 8s alienated some higher-ups at Ubisoft. Regardless, the game has not sold more copies than Red Steel, and that's more frustrating considering this game is 100 times better than the Wii launch title. Anyway, Red Steel 2 released on March 23rd, 2010 in the States and the 26th in Europe. Rather than diving too deep into this, I thought I would pass off my tricks and tips for defeating some of the enemies in the game. Let's start with the Jackals. A move that I found works best is what I call my 1-2 punch. What you do is you shoot the Jackal in the mask to daze him, and then follow up with an instant sword kill. It's that easy, and it gives you a better score, which in turn gives you more money. When tangling with lots of enemies, just like in GoldenEye, remember to use your surroundings to your advantage. Take this scene for instance. You could choose to go in guns a-blazing, but you won't fare that well. Or you can choose to even the odds in your favor by shooting the explosive barrels near the baddie. They won't know what hit them. For the Katakare, I found the easiest way to take these guys out is with hard sword swings. Once you've unlocked some more hidden sword moves, then you can just charge these guys and they're easily beaten. For the heavy gunners, I would advise using the Kusagari bear technique to stagger them, then get behind them and finish them off with some hard sword swipes. Okay, now for the ninja. These guys can be pretty tough fighters, and fighting them fairly is not really the best course of action. But there is one thing these guys aren't immune to, and that's the Tommy gun. Yep, just pull out the Tommy and mow them down. Ninja may be fast, but he isn't bulletproof. Ha 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 ha. Okay, lastly, getting lots of gold can take a lot of time and be somewhat boring in this game. What I would suggest is using the bear technique to destroy all the barrels in your vicinity. You'll be amazed how much time you save and how fast it is to collect gold. Alright, please keep in mind that the stuff I have wrong with this game is just minor nitpicking and has nothing to do with the overall gameplay at all. Red Steel 2 requires a lot of backtracking, so you'll need to keep revisiting the same locations over and over and over again. Basically what you do is you get new missions, fight more enemies, and earn more gold. Personally, I would have been fine with this if it was every once in a while, but the game demands this every single chapter. Finish your objective, go back and talk with a freedom fighter, backtrack to a location to do something you couldn't do before, and on it goes. See what I mean? This is how the game shows its linear nature. Now of course you can pace yourself and take your time going from one task to the next, but for me it just felt really repetitive. Another issue I have with this game is the challenge mode. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy replaying levels I've beaten, but I don't like the fact that I can't upgrade my weapons anymore. However you ended up fighting the final boss, that is the maximum that your weapons and armor will be for replaying the game. And that stinks. Take my advice, spend several hours getting as much gold as possible to upgrade everything before going on to the final area. You will be glad you did. Sadly, no game is perfect or without glitches, and I've stumbled upon at least one. What happened was Mr. Bull here got stuck inside of a truck and there was no way for me to fight him. So I just had to restart the save point. No big deal, it was just a little annoying. Listen, I know this complaint echoes what you've seen or read in most reviews, but once your character is upgraded to the maximum, you become too powerful. An enemy AI is no longer a concern or a challenge. Heck, even the final boss, no matter the difficulty, can be easily dispatched by your higher levels. My last thing that I didn't like about this game is it's not multiplayer. See, Red Steel had it, and I feel Ubisoft dropped the ball a little bit on this one, considering that if Red Steel 2 had multiplayer, it could have pwned the Conduit and so many other FPS games on the Wii, because the gameplay in this game is almost without error. Not many Wii games can say that, folks. Red Steel 2 can. So again, this is just minor issues, but I thought I would bring them to your attention. As soon as one combines samurais with cowboys, then you know you're on to something spectacular. This game literally has way too many good things to mention, even with the time I have remaining. The sole reason to get this great game is the gameplay, hands down. No matter how many times you have to fight or how you dispatch the enemies, it's always precise controls and so much fun to play. Sometimes you may not want to swing the Wiimote too hard, otherwise you may get smacked in the face with the cords. Either that or you may accidentally knock out a loved one or possibly kill a small pet. Anyway, probably one of the best new additions to the franchise are the earned samurai powers, dubbed Kusagari powers by the game. Each power has its own attributes and usefulness. Take the eagle, for instance. Once you learn this power, you can knock bad guys into the air, fly after them like Vegeta, and send them plummeting to the ground below. Or you could knock them into the air and shoot him a dozen times before he hits the ground. No matter how you pull this move off, it's always totally awesome! The dragon move is great for adding space between you and your attackers, and upgraded, it's even more awesome. The bear is incredibly powerful and it can daze many enemies, so you can perform finishers on each and every one of them. Still, out of all my favorite powers, I have to say Cobra is the deadliest and most fun. Now remember, Red Steel had a type of bullet time where you could highlight a bunch of baddies and shoot them all at once. Cobra works like that, but it's much better. You can target up to 6 guys at once and each shot is lethal. Even ninjas and heavy enemies are no match for Cobra! Sorry, I grew up with G.I. Joe, what can I say? I've noticed that way too many reviewers have been complaining that the game is too easy and the enemy AI is stupid. Boy, are they wrong. If you're playing the game on easy, then of course the AI isn't going to be that sharp. But playing this game on hard or ninja, well, I wish you all the luck in the world. Blocking works so much better in this game too. Not only can you guard against every enemy attack and truly experience a great sword dueling system, but just like in anime, the hero can use his katana to block bullets too! All you have to do is hold the A button and presto, you're bulletproof! That is sick! I'm still taken aback by how well the motion plus attachment works and no waggling in this game exists. In order to play this game, you really need to swing the Wiimote hard and accurately, because if you move your sword too weak, the enemy will easily deflect it and laugh at you. My body hasn't been this sore since I played in my church softball league 6 years ago. I couldn't even play this game for a whole day because my right arm felt like it was on fire! Had I not stumbled into the sensitivity settings for this game, I very well could have dislocated my shoulder. Also, I dare you guys to play 4 hours on athletic mode. I'm still amazed I didn't drop dead from a heart attack.